I'm Lillian McMorris, and welcome to the Lillian McMorris Show. We're always here to give you good information about events and programs that are happening right here in our community. Matter of fact, we might touch on things all over the state of Nevada, and of course, a lot of our organizations are affiliates to national organizations. But I will always like to make sure that we educate our listeners and our viewers on various programs that are here in Southern Nevada, just in case you need something. And the needs are overwhelming, and specifically in the homeless category. And men, women, and children all come in that category. But I want to talk today specifically about our veterans. And our veterans, there are so many homeless vets. And I have a wonderful visionary here in the city of Las Vegas. And he started here many years ago. I met him, if any of you remember, MASH Village. And we both started out there. That was like eons ago.
It was.
Dr. Arnold Stalk, welcome.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you.
Our
homeless population, unfortunately, is quite large.
It is for many different segments of the population, particularly our veterans.
Mm-hmm. And that's what you do, Veterans Village. Let's talk about it, because it is such a godsend to the veterans here in Southern Nevada.
Thank you very much. Veterans Village is a 122-unit converted motel that provides housing for veterans, transitional housing, and also provides services through our Crisis Intervention Center. We're right on the Strip, and we're open 24/7.
And see, and that kind of sets you apart from most facilities that close at 5 or 6 o'clock.
That's correct.
Recently, we had a press conference, and you told a story about a family whose the lady's purse was stolen, and they had to go from here to there, and everything was closed, and they had nowhere to go, and they finally ended up at Veterans Village.
That's correct. We get a lot of people that find us on the internet or come from the VA or come from an agency, a referral, and we're able to help them. And most of our people that are on staff are volunteers, and they're military people. And so when someone comes into our lobby, there's that instant camaraderie that people have when they're in a crisis.
Yeah, even with people like me, I don't have any military, but when I walk in there, everybody's just so nice, and what do you need? And, oh, let me get that for you. I mean, just very nice, and I love the customer service. But not only that, you have empathy. And I think that's so important, as we all get caught up in our day-to-day economic issues, family issues, work issues, and we forget to love, we forget to care, we forget to touch. But I find that with Veterans Village.
Thank you. Yeah, and we're a lot of times we'll take people that are new with us over to the lobby at the Wynn and watch how they greet people. And we're certainly not the Wynn, but the way they greet people is the way we greet people and treat people that are have fallen on hard times or in a crisis.
Right.
And we have a lot of therapy dogs on site. There's a lot of calmness that happens when people come there, and so they're not into that. The minute they're off the street, they're in a much more better place already before we even provide the services.
And I know you have a waiting list, because oftentimes I have referred people and go, oh gosh, we have a waiting list, but we're going to take care of that, aren't we? You've got an expansion plan.
We do. Our plans are to double our size from 125 units to 250, because we want to end this problem. We think it's a national disgrace to have homeless veterans on the streets, couch surfing, living in garages, living in their cars. There's no excuse for it. But we have a solution, and that's. Now we're going to double our size, and then see where else we're going to go with this.
Now I look at the facility, and I've had conversations with you. You're going to go up, like you've got 120 units. It's kind of like a S shape back there, but you're going to make like second and third floor.
Correct. We're stacking right up onto this 2 floors. It's an old 60s motel, and so we've designed a system where we're going to build levels 3 and 4 right on top of levels 1 and 2. Okay. We're going to have larger units, all full ADA access with elevators, and handicap units for sure.
Fabulous. Now, in the 60s, speaking of a 60s motel, they always had the pools right in front.
That's
so all the girls could lay out and everybody could see as you go down the street. But you're going to take that pool area and turn it into, I believe, a health?
We're going to have a medical and mental health services there. And we're also going to have our Crisis Intervention Center. It'll be 3 times the size it is now. Okay. The reason that we do that is we reach out to the community of other existing nonprofit organizations that do their work, because we don't do medical or mental health. We bring other providers on site that do that, so we're providing the space for them to come on site.
To be a referral. It's nice to have it as a one-stop shop. And I can recant a story that you told me. There was an elder, very, very old, actually, gentleman that was on the street. And I think within an 8-hour period, you got his DD-214s, found out what his benefits were, gave him a place to live.
That's correct. Within about, that particular gentleman's still with us. It took about 4 hours till we had him in his apartment. And the waiting lists are very, very long for other facilities. And so we're able to circumvent that because we have people from the community doing that kind of work, and we don't have the kind of rules and regulations that others do.
Right. How does one get in contact with you, and what is the procedure in order to get, if they need a place to stay and they are a veteran? If
they need help 24/7, we can be reached on our website at www.vvlv.org, or call me directly at 702-624-5792. They will always get a return call if we don't answer, and they'll always get a referral or help on site.
I want to also commend you because not only do you make sure that they have a place to live, you feed them. You have so many, I mean, I have seen just donations come, and it's such a wonderful thing. And they just come out and you make sure everybody's fed, everybody's healthy and happy.
I'll come back here every day. Thank you. We are a 3 Square agency. When 3 Square is the unsung heroes in our community.
Yes, they are.
The ability of 3 Square to move food, and really quality, good, and nutritious food. We get donations from Whole Foods, Trader Joe's, Dunkin' Donuts, the USO from the airport, and individuals that just bring us food that they make, homemade things.
I mean, it is just such a wonderful program that you have.
Thank you.
And I can't wait for the expansion. I know it's coming. We'll be able to touch more souls, and I think that is what's so important.
Thank you.
Again, we're talking to Dr. Arnold Stalk. We very friendly call him Arnie. Thank you, Arnie.
Yes.
We appreciate you in our community.
Thank you so much.
And he's a community visionary in my book, and what he does for our community and the veterans, it's so commendable. For more information, if you have access to the website, and unfortunately there's so many people with lower economic that may not, but if you do, go to www.vvlv, that's Veterans Village Las Vegas, vvlv.org, or simply give Arnie a call at 702-624-5792. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
We'll take a little break. We'll be right back. The Lillian McMorris Show is produced by Tego and Associates Productions. Multi-camera shoots either in our studio or on location. That's Tego and Associates Productions. Give us a call at 702-509-7728.
You know your business could really benefit from a great mobile app. Being accessible on mobile devices everywhere can take you to new heights of audience interaction that will improve sales, service, and we're here to help. We can help you build a beautiful mobile app and mobile website. Rely on our expertise to handle everything from start to finish affordably and professionally. Contact us for a free demo to see what an app for your business would look like.
And welcome back. I was just reading bits and pieces of this and unfortunately get a little teary-eyed because this touches the lives of a lot of people. And years ago, no one talked about what happens with the elder people in our communities and in our families. And it was kind of like dress them up, set them on the front row of church, or dress them up, take them to work with you, they sleep behind you or behind the counter. But now Alzheimer's is one of the largest subjects that we talk about. And the sad thing about the journey is it affects everybody in the family. I have a wonderful author here who tells her story her way. And reading the reviews from the book, they were talking about her writing style. And her writing style actually is very personal. I would like you to please meet Gina Moreno Wilson. Welcome, Gina.
Thank you, Lillian.
Thank you so much for joining me.
I appreciate you having me.
Donald's story, one family's journey through the tangled darkness of Alzheimer's.
It's my dad's story. Donald is my father. He passed in 2010, and this book is my attempt to tell his story and to be his voice.
Okay.
I didn't start out to write a book. I was struggling with a way to survive what I was experiencing.
Wow.
And at the time, I was kind of a harried single mom, full-time worker, daughter to my parents, and I didn't understand what was going on with my dad for a long time. it's part of the disease. We don't
Those
recognize
steps, you
it
don't
as it's
recognize it.
happening.
Right.
And
then the little things.
yeah,
Like my ex-mother-in-law is going through the early dementia right now, and I'll say, she'll be just feeling for something. Can I get you something, Mother dear? And she's, I don't know. It's like you see it in their eyes.
yeah.
How do you cope as it gets progressively worse?
Everyone goes through denial, Lillian. That's the first thing. So you'll see these little signs and you'll say, wow, well, they're getting older. Or, with my dad, there were personality changes. And you'd say, well,
That was my godfather. He became so mean.
there you go.
Yes.
My mom used to say, well, they don't call it grumpy old men for nothing. So we're like, oh, okay, well, he's getting older. He's
Right.
not as mellow. And then you'd see these weird little things, but then he would be fine. So you would never know if you're going to have a bad moment, a bad day, but then there would be just periods of normalcy and cognition. In fact, my coworkers and family members, many people didn't believe me. I'd say, oh, something's really not
Something's
right.
wrong.
This
Yes.
is different. But then, they'd speak to Dad and he'd be fine. He'd play a game of canasta, he'd be talking about the news or watching sports. I'd say, oh, your dad's
And later on in the
fine.
day,
He's fine, but then he would go and take the salad dressing and put it on the spaghetti and not the salad, or put the toothpaste on the hairbrush instead of on the toothbrush. And those types of events became increasingly more common. And, so we knew progressively at some point that there was something more than normal aging going on
Correct.
with Dad.
and so once you came to grips that there was something going on, something amiss, how did you handle it?
It was a real struggle to make a decision as to what the next steps should be.
Okay.
He was initially put on some medication to slow the progress, and that was with a family doctor. My mother was, God bless her, I just lost her 6 months ago.
I'm sorry.
And she, to her dying day, was just the sharpest lady. She wanted to be in control of the situation. We're not going to put Dad anywhere. I've got this. I didn't know till much later everything that she lived through. And we did not put my father into a memory care facility until we absolutely had to. I thought that would be never. I didn't realize when I was in the middle, kind of can't see the forest for the trees,
Yes.
I didn't realize just how bad it could get.
Okay.
And when I would get calls in the middle of the night from her or from my father saying, honey, it's bad, you need to come over. I would go over and I would just try to calm the situation.
Right.
But honestly, Lillian, I thought my parents had marital problems. Honestly, I'm like, oh, you guys are just
Sorry, I have to
fighting.
laugh about that one.
Right? I'm like,
We're just having marital problems.
Yeah, because for many years, she's mean to me, he's mean to me, whatever, So I would just be trying to calm a situation down and not realizing that things were really, there was a medical issue underlying the events until the hallucinations started.
Oh, gosh.
And that's really when my mom told me she was driving home with my dad from the grocery store one day, and she had begun driving, and he was a passenger, and he looked at her and he said, do you know Gina? Oh, that's me.
That's
she
you.
said right then, she said, okay. And she
That's
just
why you
said-
made this statement, and
she
it's
said,
right inside the
"Yeah."
cover that your dad would forget that I was his baby.
Yeah. I actually, when you think of Alzheimer's disease or dementia, don't we all think of kind of a stereotypical scenario where that person loses all memory? They don't know you. And when Dad was finally diagnosed at the neurologist, that's what I thought would happen. I thought, he is going to forget me and who I am, and I'm just going to be some nice lady that comes to visit. And I was scared of that happening, but Lillian, let me tell you, for me that never happened, and I honestly wish it had.
Oh.
Because having to put my parent away in a jail, and that's how he felt.
Okay.
It was a wonderful facility.
Correct.
He got excellent care, and I have no complaints. But he begged me, how could you do this to me? How could you put me away? He sat the day I had to do it, and I literally had to do it. I had a police car following me. It was that or jail, and that story is told in the book.
Okay.
He sat there and he said, after everything I've done for you, how could you do this? So the guilt that family members go through,
I'm
coupled
experiencing
with
that
the
right now.
pain,
Yes, I understand.
is really
So what do you tell
significant.
people? Because you're on the speaking circuit and talking about your book and talking about the life that you've had to lead through this and the struggles and the hope and the love and the care, but still you had to make it through.
You do. And I think that there's a couple of reasons I want to do this, besides honoring my father and his story, and I think that other families will relate, because I know I searched for someone to understand, and not just medical information. There's plenty of statistics.
No, people in here
but
information.
You got to understand what I'm feeling, what I'm going through, and how am I going to get through this, because it's a 24/7 cycle. There's no break from it. And I think that families need to understand a couple of things. One, in dealing with their loved one, they really have to understand what it means to speak Alzheimer's. They are in another world.
Another world. And that's kind of when we said going through the tangled darkness, because they're in a whole different, they don't even understand the fear.
No.
You know.
And they can't be oriented to reality.
Right.
You can't say, no, Dad, that's not right. Remember, you're 85, not 15. You need to go to their place.
You go their place, right.
You go to their place.
Well, their
and you
place
take
in
care
this
of
book
you
is
in it.
Donald's story, one family's journey through the tangled darkness of Alzheimer's. Where can we get your book?
It's available online through Amazon or Barnes & Noble. It's also available at your local Barnes & Noble.
Okay.
And we do a lot of signings
I'm going
and
to
work
give your
with the
website
Alzheimer's
too.
Association.
This is Gina, and we thank her so much for joining us. www.donaldstory.com.
Thank you so much.
Donaldstory.com. If you really need just to be walked through this dimension, the suffering and it says, as the 6th leading cause of death in the United States, Alzheimer's and related dementing illnesses, they're becoming an epidemic. Thank you so much, Gina, for joining me.
I appreciate it. And there's survival tips in there, Lillian.
That's
I
what
forgot
we
to
need,
point
survival
that out.
tips.
So
go to donaldstory.com, get the book, email Gina. She'll be happy to correspond back and forth with you, and I appreciate you being
I
here and
appreciate you
sharing
having me and
sharing.
raising awareness.
Okay, we're going to take a break, and we'll be right back. And when we come back, I've got a fabulous man. As a matter of fact, he's given us the ambiance of the Heartland Mansion. And welcome back. I am so excited. You know, it's always a pleasure to come and see this house. And I call it a house because I've been here for years, and it has been here for years. Since the 1940s, this is called the Heartland Mansion. And Larry Hart has graciously allowed us to come in and tape, and said that he would be our location sponsor. So we're really, really happy to be in here, and you're going to see a wonderful commercial showing a bit of the insides of it. And if you have an event or something you want, we'll talk to you about it. Larry Hart.
Hi,
welcome.
How are you?
Thank you. I am so happy. Thank you so much.
Well, I'm thrilled and honored that you're here and that we get to be a part of your show.
Thank
it's
you.
Wonderful.
We have, there is such rich history. 1940s.
Yes.
And your mom said, I want that, took the two houses and put them together and put you and your brother to work.
Yes, she did. You know, this place actually had 2 fires.
Mm-hmm. Didn't the first one totally burn to the ground?
The first one burnt the south house, or the south half down.
Okay.
And then the night before we were supposed to start the reconstruction of the south end, somebody came in and arsoned the north end with no insurance. And Mother took the project away from the contractor and attorney, who turned out to have cheated her and set the whole thing up. And piece by piece, stick by stick, over a 7-year period, we physically built this property back.
And you know what? I knew your mother for many years.
Yes.
Even when we had she had the restaurant in the back.
Yes.
I would bring clients over. I was at Fox 5 at that time, and take them downtown and come down to the Heartland Mansion to eat. There is so much we can talk about. Give us a few stories about the Heartland Mansion.
Well, we come from Texas, and everything is oversized and bigger than life. And Mother and my dad started out in the 40s and 50s as gospel singers and musicians, and became very, very successful. And my mom always wanted a big home after years of being on the road in house trailers, and she got her wish when they moved to Detroit. Her first house was 10,000 square feet.
Wow.
And
back then that was like huge.
Huge.
Yes.
Gigantic. And, which they bought for $17,000.
That's even funnier,
Yeah,
okay?
and just thought that, they were kings of the world.
Right.
And when we moved to Las Vegas, we actually moved here into a 2-bedroom condo. And Mother always had, in the second half of her life, through a series of circumstance, to support her 3 kids. She went to work as a waitress and would save her tips and scrape money. And after that big house in Detroit, and my dad divorced her, she started over in her 40s.
Wow.
And
that's a journey.
it is a journey. And starting as a waitress and
With 2 kids.
Three
Your
kids,
sister, that's right.
scraping pennies. She paid $400 down on her first house in 1967 in Nashville. She fixed it up. She made a little money. She bought a piece of property. She built a house, and she just kept doing it while she was singing and performing.
Who knew, a lady, a gospel singer,
Right.
cute as a button, just audience appeal, would have all the brains in order to build an empire, which she did.
Yeah, she did, and she did it the hard way and the old-fashioned way. She worked for it, and regardless of the adversity that she faced, which was often and serious, she never stopped. Up until the day she started to get really sick. She was 88 years old, was driving a sports car, wearing 5-inch stilettos and big hair.
And that gorgeous glittery cane.
Yep.
She's got 5-inch stilettos and she's got a cane.
Yes, she did. And she never stopped.
Right.
And part of the restoration of Heartland that I've gone through in the 9 months since Mother passed is to tell her story and her legacy, and hopefully to inspire people that no matter where you start, you
can finish on top.
Yes, you can.
But
And she
on top.
did. And she did it splendidly. And besides her 3 kids, she foster parented 27 kids that would live with us from 6 months to 5 years. And these kids would come from broken homes and very serious and sad situations. Yeah.
But she had a heart.
Yeah, she had a heart, and she was tough as nails. She would get these kids off drugs, and really ran a tight ship. She'd teach them how to play a musical instrument. She'd teach them how to sing, and they'd go on the road with us and perform with the family wherever we went.
What inspired the decor of Heartland Mansion?
Well, both Mother and I love fancy stuff, and part of the great thing when we were kids and traveling overseas, Mother made sure, no matter how much we were performing, that she took us to see the museums, to learn the culture. And I was 5 years old the first time we went on a tour to Europe to perform. We were over there for 6 months, and Mother took Linda and I to every castle, every palace, every museum. And for me, that's certainly where it started. When I got to go see Buckingham Palace and Versailles, I was forever affected or damaged by all that gold leaf.
Positively affected. Positively affected.
So it was, and I think part of it is being Texan. We just like shiny stuff.
Shiny big stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Shiny big stuff.
Exactly.
Well, I feel honored, and I feel honored in the company of, and because I was reading about it, in the past 20 years, Ginger Rogers danced here, Michael Jackson moonwalked here, Willie Nelson sang here, Engelbert Humperdinck dined here, CeeLo Green, Miss Piggy, and the Muppets filmed a music video here, Robert De Niro and Sharon Stone made a movie here, Jackie Collins launched a book here, and the Las Vegas Symphony gave a concert in the Grand Party Room for 400 guests. Art shows, fashion shows, fundraisers, corporate events, all held at the Heartland Mansion. And now we can add the Lillian McMorris show.
Yes.
It's filmed here.
It's part of our history now.
We'll add that to the history.
It's wonderful to have you here.
I am just so pleased. The glamour of old Las Vegas, and we always say it's alive and well right here at the Heartland Mansion. Now, you have opened up, due to the fact that you've totally redecorated, restored things, everything is just back to where it was.
Yes.
So you're opening up the doors for people to come in and have events.
Yes. Mother ran this successfully for 35 years for weddings, wedding receptions, quinceañeras, bar mitzvahs, bat mitzvahs, and any social event, book launches, film location, and lots of corporate events. Hundreds. Tommy Hilfiger did his Christmas in July event here, which was amazing. It was 180 guests, and the decor used 22,000 Christmas ornaments in the room. It was remarkable.
Wow.
And
I love the pool room.
isn't
We
that
got
beautiful?
the stage, and you've got a full-fledged pool, literally a pool in there.
Well, that pool is original to the property. It was built in 1947 for Esther Williams to swim in when she came to town in those days. And Esther did all those spectacular MGM musicals with the synchronized swimming. And in the 40s and 50s, the man that owned the South House, Jake Kozloff, had founded the Frontier Hotel.
Right.
So everybody from Ronald Reagan to the Marx Brothers, the Rat Pack, Marlene
history.
Dietrich, they were all here.
You can book your event. You can come out and be a part of the rich history of the Heartland Mansion. I'm going to go to the website and you'll see wonderful, wonderful tour of it. It's heartlandmansionlv.com, heartlandmansionlv.com. And you know what, just go take a look, and you can always call Larry.
Yes.
310-497-1815. That's 310-497-1815. It's a Heartland Mansion, and we're downtown Las Vegas, just off of Las Vegas Boulevard and Charleston.
Yes.
Right. Well, I thank you so much for watching. I thank you so much for being here and allowing us to come and film here at the Heartland
My
Mansion.
honor.
Thank you, Larry.
All right, honey.
The Lillian McMorris Show right here downtown Las Vegas at the Heartland Mansion. We want to say thank you again. We'd like to thank Paragon Gaming as well as the Venetian Sands Corporation for being our major sponsors for the Lillian McMorris Show. Anything that you would like to know that's going on right here in Southern Nevada, you can go to our website, LillianMcMorrisShow.com or LillianMcMorris.com. We also have an app, Lillian McMorris Show app. Gives various things that are occurring right here in our community. If you want to email me or call me, my number is 888-812-5455. Simply email Lillian at LillianMcMorrisShow.com. Tell us what's going on. Tell us if you have an event or program that you would like for us to put on our community calendar, or if you'd like to come and be a guest. We would appreciate that. But right now, we're going to leave you, and we'll talk to you next time.